So one of the values we talk about in my class is the right of self-determination and self-government, the ability to choose for yourself what you believe is best. And I think it's really important in National School Choice Week for us to be mindful that sometimes it really comes down to parents making the best decision for their families and for their kids. And at our school, we believe that you're not only what you're born, you are what you have it in you to be. And in order to do that, you have to have access to a good quality education. So whether that's a public school or a charter school or even homeschool or private school or online, it's important that parents make the decision that they feel is best for their children. And it's important to have quality teachers in the classroom to support our kids in the classroom.
Charter schools for my kids, I'll start with my oldest son. Of course, because the C public charter school only starts at a certain grade, they had to go to other schools. But I chose those schools because one school had a performing arts type program, and that was my son. He would dance, sleep, breathe, eat, dance. So I chose that school because at the time, that was the school that had the program for him, which was the Howard Road Academy. And Mr. Jackson was the head of their 21st Century program. And they performed in plays. My children have done The Wiz. And so that at that time catered to, and all three of my children, my son and my two daughters also went to Howard Road Academy for that particular thing. Also academically, my children always expressed going to college. So because their academic scores were high, I knew that there was a balance. They can not only get their academics met, but also they can do what their hearts was geared towards. So I kind of got two for one. I didn't have to search for other programs for them to be in. So that's why I chose that particular school for my children at that time.
I became an educator because I knew that I wanted to help. With my master's band in counseling psychology, I knew that that was my path to go, but as far as like that specification, I knew I wanted to be in the classroom. This is my 6th, 7th year teaching. More specifically, I chose Monument because I know that these children come from all types of backgrounds. I'm a Washingtonian myself. I come from a single family household, so I knew that I could relate to the children here at Monument Academy. So just inserting some of them personal life experiences that I've been through to have them to relate and connect while learning is important, where it will take you. You can still be successful coming from a charter school or more specifically DC. I knew I wanted to be the face of that and an example of what success looks like for these children.
When I started Early Childhood Academy, I started out as a parent, and I can remember calling my uncle, asking him about schools in DC because I knew nothing about DC schools, but he knows a lot. And this was the first school that he mentioned. He spoke on a lot of other schools, but Early Childhood Academy, that's all he kept saying. And I remember being on the phone with him as he was saying, I was putting inside my GPS the address from my home to the school, and the time said 2 hours and 15 minutes. And immediately I told my uncle, I said, I don't think that I can do that. Is there another school that's closer? He said, yeah, there are schools by your house. You can go to those schools. And I, urged the neighborhood that I was living in. I didn't want my daughter to go to that school. He said, well, this is the best choice. I think if you want the best for her, then this is where you're going to have to go. So this is where I enrolled her into Early Childhood Academy. And it sure enough took me a little bit over 2 hours and 15 minutes to get her to school and to go back home. And, my situation at the time, I worked evenings, so I only had like this 45-minute period where I could go home and relax and get myself ready for my evening. And then I'll have to go pick my daughter up again. I'll have to do this 2 and a half hour ride to pick her up and to come back home. And that was every day, every single day. I did it because I knew, and I began to see the results of this being the right school for my daughter.
So I firmly believe that the best way to get the child to where we need them to be, it takes a village. It takes the teachers, educators, parents, families, as well as community members. But along with that, it's also important to know that the schools must have what you need and you feel is best for your child. For example, each morning outside in the freezing cold, I have some kids who do math problems with me, and their parents sit there and they watch. And I feel like you don't get that experience at every school in the city. So there's a reason why these parents and these kids have put their trust and their faith in us. And it's very important for all of us to know that we have choices. Our children's educations and futures are paramount to our success and their success. So why not give them the best opportunities that they can have and give them the best fighting chances they can?